I had a desperate need for attention as a child. That's absolutely true. But my name is Joshua Routh. Hello. I want you to take a moment and just feel what many of you felt just now as I pulled that sword up to my throat. Many of you pulled back. Some of you went, oh. Some of you got out your phone to, this boy's going to die. I got to get this on the video, right? Many of you had lots of different responses. And a lot of that was due to the fact that you don't know who I am, yet she just introduced me and said I'm a sword swallower, and I pulled out a sword and I was about to stick it down my throat. It's about the extent of what you knew about me at that moment. And today we're going to talk about something that takes things a little bit further than our bios and simply just who we are as people when we talk about things like authenticity. We're going to take it a step further. I want to grant you a superpower. Who would like a new superpower? If you would like a new superpower, say yes. All right, let's get into it. Here's the thing. We're going to talk about something I call the S word. The S word, here's the thing about the S word. The S word is sincerity. Today's world, we talk a lot about authenticity. The Oxford English Dictionary talks about how common words are used. And they say that the word authenticity is on the rise, the word sincerity is on the decline. It's an old-fashioned concept. And what I want to teach you is how you can use sincerity, this old-fashioned concept, to become more engaging with the people around you, and also somebody that people can trust more deeply, which I think is a super powerful thing in this world today, and I'm going to show you why. Sincerity is genuine, honest, free from pretense or deceit in one's actions. Very simple. It's a simple statement. That you are genuine, this is who I am, that's a lot of authenticity, but you're free from pretense, you're humble. I like to think of humility as understanding who we are with a sincere desire to become who we could be. We know who we are. I can always get better. I can always work at that. I don't have the pretense. I'm not a master yet. Someday, maybe, but today I'm learning. Who here's a learner? Say yes. That's right. We're going to learn some things here today. And also, of course, without being deceitful. And I know none of you here are deceitful. I know that about you, so we don't have to worry about that much. Though I'm looking at a couple of you and wondering. I'm just kidding. Again, it's an old-fashioned concept. Ben Franklin wrote a lot about this. Going back to Ben Franklin, he said, use no hurtful deceit, think innocently and justly, and if you speak, speak accordingly. Which basically means if you say something, you better mean it. How would you like it if more people around you said things that they actually meant? It's important, right? In this world, we're kind of constantly confused because people say things to us. People push us in all sorts of different directions, and we follow because we trust them, because they said it, but they don't back it up. And it's our responsibility to be the first people on the dance floor. That's a lot of what this is. You're going to have to take some risks here today. I'm going to ask some things of you that leaving here might just change the world. I hope we do change the world just a little bit using sincerity as our guide. In ancient Rome, the word sincerity, we're going even further back, goes back to ancient Rome to a pot. And they would use the phrase sincera. Sincera meant without wax, because there was a lot of fraudulent pots being sold in the marketplace that they would use wax to hide the flaws in those pots. They would use the wax to hide the defects. These were con men selling old pots, polishing them up and saying that they were new. Now, when we talk about authenticity, authentically, that's a pot. But does it hold water? Does it really hold water? Does it really serve the purpose for what it says it is? Yes, it's a pot. Yes, it's pretty, but will it hold water when I need it to hold water? Can I make spaghetti in it? Who likes spaghetti? Say yes. Good, my people. Love spaghetti. Sincerity is all about honesty, authenticity, transparency, consistency, and genuineness. And I want to talk about consistency here a little bit. That every day you are that person. Every day I can count on you to be that person. That does not mean you will not make mistakes. That does not mean you will not fail at certain times. But we're going to talk about how when you fail and how when you make mistakes, how you get over it. And it's so super simple. It's so super simple. One of the problems that we face in our world today, selfishness. This is the part of the guiding force of all of this authenticity talk. Authenticity is great, but all this, look at me, look at me, look at me, look at me, look at me. You see it everywhere. It's pervasive in social media. The term GOAT all the time. I'm the greatest. It's all about me and me and more about me and me and me and me. And as an entertainer, that's kind of pretty much the way I live. Look at me. That's my world. And I thought that for a long time as an entertainer. I thought for a long time as an entertainer in the circus and in performances all over the country. By the way, where's my Canada people at? I heard there's some people here from Canada. Hey, Canada, what's going on? I was just in Canada speaking in Banff, Canada, and carrying a sword across the border. That was interesting. Yeah, but I love Canada. What part of Canada are you from? Toronto. I was in Calgary. I was up in Banff, but I haven't been to Toronto yet, but you'll have me there. Going back to the 1960s. In the 1960s, they asked a bunch of school children this phrase, "Are you an important person?" And the kids had to say, "Yes, I'm an important person. I'm an important person." And the kids, it was about 20% of the kids said, "Yes, I'm an important person." 20% of the kids said, "Yes, I'm an important person." It was an era that they had just come out of World War II, where we were collectively growing America back again. It was a collective thing. It was a we thing. So it was a lot less about me as an individual and more about what is our purpose. So yeah, there were people that said I'm an important person. I'm not saying that we shouldn't teach children that they're important. That's not what I'm saying. Because in today's world, they did a recent study, and it was 70 to 80% of people said I'm an important person. And that's good. We want people to feel important. But with importance comes responsibility. You can't just say, I'm important, and that's it. You are important, but we have a responsibility to one another. This is a graph about narcissism. This won't come as much of a surprise to many of you. Many of us talk about this all the time, young people and narcissism. Narcissism is growing. The average rate of narcissism is about 15.3. When you judge people, it's about 15.3. That's average. And you look at 1980, it was about 15.5. You look at now, it's getting up to about 17. It's by no means an epidemic. Do not let this fool you. I am not saying that there is a narcissism epidemic in America. Merely by this graph. Judge your experiences. This is what we're talking about when we're talking about everybody wants to take pictures of themselves and post it all the time. Look at me, look at me. But nobody's saying, I see you. You can count on me because I see you. When you see other people, that is a superpower. They feel connected. They trust you. And I don't care what business you're in, if your clients, your partners, your employees, they don't trust you, you've got nothing. It's not going to last. It's a house built on water, not built on rock and stone. People have to be able to depend on you. And when you're only talking about yourself and what's in it for me, people aren't going to stick around. There's an old joke. I love this. A man comes into work. He sits down at his desk. He starts working. His boss pulls up in a Lamborghini in the parking lot. He can see him out the window. He sees the boss in the Lamborghini out on the lot. And his boss comes in and he says, "That's an amazing Lamborghini. That's so cool. I love that." And the boss goes, "Yes, and if you come in early every day and work hard, next year I'll have 2 of them." Because he's focused on himself. Do for me, do for me, do for me. The other problem, loneliness. The Inspector General, or no, the Surgeon General of America, the Surgeon General said that loneliness was an epidemic. It was actually an epidemic. And that's coming off the pandemic, and we all know what the pandemic was like. For some of us, it was a brilliant time. For some of us, it was a slower time. Some of us, it was a very, very sad time. It was a wave of emotions. But we can all say that we learned a new level of isolation through the pandemic. And that led to new patterns of behavior of loneliness. You see it rampantly. You see lots of people feeling disconnected. They're on dating apps and things like that, and they're not connecting, and they're like, why am I not finding my people? I'm alone. There's new apps like meetup.com where people are trying to find their people because there's a rampant sense of loneliness because everybody's thinking it works for me. And by the way, that's a famous quote. It works for me. There's a guy, Neil Howe, who wrote a book called The Fourth Turning that's all about generational dynamics. And in that book, he mentions Gen X, which I am a Gen Xer, people born 1980. Okay, there's my Gen Xers. Where are my people, right? People that were born from 1965 to 1980, you're Gen X. Us Gen Xers, one of our greatest phrases is, it works for me, it works for me, works for me. Well, what about everybody else? A lot of that comes because when we were raised, we had to take care of ourselves because nobody else was going to do it for us. We had to do it. That's why the other generations fear us. We know how to use a water hose. We know how to sharpen sticks on the pavement, right? But the fact is, we are a great source of that self-centeredness and that loneliness. The younger generations, they're feeling a sense of loneliness, a sense of disconnection. And this is an interesting factoid right here. This is fascinating. This is from the National Institute of Health. It measured cortisol levels. And what it says is this. The first two bars, the first one says no contact. This is in regards to cell phone usage of young girls. This relates to young girls and their mothers, okay? What they found is with no contact, no cell phone usage, no phone calls, no seeing the mother, anything like that, their cortisol levels were high. They found that this cortisol is the stress hormone, in case you were wondering. Stress, panic, depression, all those things, diabetes, bad health, all comes from that cortisol. All right? And they noticed that these cortisol levels were high for these young women who weren't coming in contact at all with their mothers. And then they found, well, if they were just instant messaging with their mothers, it was even higher. But when they had full contact, when they sat in the rooms with their mothers, surprisingly, their cortisol levels were below 0. When they actually spent time physical contact and proximity, their cortisol levels were lower. And it was the same as when they just talked to them on the phone. When they called them up on the phone and spoke to them on the phone, same thing. It was exactly the same. We have to hear them. We have to connect with them because there's so much subtext and stuff that's missing in those instant messages and text messages and likes on Facebook. It's all missed. It's not real connection. I love that. That was a perfect moment for you to pop your soda open. Totally fine. Totally fine. I'm going to call you out on that just because it's funny to me. No worries. As an entertainer, I see everything. I hear everything, but you're cool. This is important, though, because we think we're connecting with people. We have the illusion of connection. I texted people. I instant messaged these people. I have these Facebook group friends. You don't. That doesn't do anything for your cortisol levels, but raise them. And if you know anything about most engagements on social media, it does not make you feel peaceful when you've turned it off. It's a source of dopamine. It's a spike. But we still feel stress going into it and coming out of it. It's not real connection. Fear. We all feel fear all the time. Elections, stock markets, job markets. If you ever read the Gallup reviews, if you look on Gallup.com, you'll see tons of statistics. You'll see that more and more people are thinking, should I switch jobs? Should I stay in my job? Should I do this? Should I do that? There's a State of the Workplace report that comes out every year. It's amazing. You should check it out. That State of the Workplace report for many years now says that most employees feel disconnected to the management. They feel like they're not connected to their management. They don't know what's going on. They're afraid. People are afraid. Everywhere you go, people are afraid because we cannot trust anyone. We don't know who's going to steal our data. We don't know who's going to steal our wallet, who's going to steal our girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever. We don't know. We don't trust other people. This is an interesting fact right here. This actually comes from Gallup. Gallup said, asked people, who are the most trusted occupations? So the H stands for high, L stands for low. It's probably not surprising to most of you if you look down at that bottom line over there, members of Congress. That is not a surprise to most of you. But I want you to notice something. Look at nurses. Look at doctors, pharmacists, high school teachers, even police officers. It's pretty high. What you notice is those are people that we come in contact with on a regular basis. Or we know someone, very likely, that is one of those things. We see them on a regular basis, so we trust them more. When was the last time you went out and hung out with your member of Congress? It's just a name of a person that does a thing that sometimes I hear them on CNN yelling about something. And generally it doesn't help me. Right? So how can you possibly trust them? How does that affect me? How do they connect to me? Of course I'm not going to trust them. And when they say they're going to do things, do they do it? No. There's tons of unknowns. It's that Sincerity. They are a pot, but does that pot hold water? No. We need each other. More than ever, we need each other. And what all of you do for a living, this is amazing. I love what you do. And I've gotten to speak to the local chapter, and I think it's fascinating that you bring people together. That's magnificent. That's a noble cause. You have a purpose, and that is great. We need each other more than ever. So I'm going to teach you how we're going to get there. We're going to start with self-awareness. Because how do we help other people if we don't know who we are? We may say that we are certain things, but are we really? We may say that one of our values is family, yet we never see our family. We may say that one of our values is exercise, but our Peloton is a coat rack. Okay? How many Pelotoners are there out there? What's up, my Peloton people? You have to give me your name later. If you want to know if someone rides Peloton, wait 5 minutes, they'll tell you. It's also how you'll know if they're a vegan. I'm both. Okay. Self-awareness. I want you to make sure that you have downloaded on your phone. You have Wi-Fi here. It's on the back of your pass. Check that out and go ahead and scan that barcode real quick, or that code right there. Go ahead, scan that, and go to that web page for me, please. When you've got it, it's a page on my website that is a list of values. You'll see that there are tons of values on there, and if you click on one, it'll drop it down, and it will give you an explanation of that value. It's important that we know what our values are. Authenticity is great. It's good to know that we are authentically that thing. But again, sincerity is really being it and living it. So when you look at those values, look at them and say, which of these are my values? Which of these do I actually live? Which of these are just lip service? And that's okay. It's okay to not be floating like I'm a master at life. You're not. None of you are there. None of you are perfect. I am an imperfect being as well. It is okay to go against your values occasionally. That will happen. We are imperfect creatures. But we should know what we're striving to be. We should know what our values are that we're striving to be. Who do we want to become? And without knowing what our values are, how could we ever do that? So I want you to take a couple of moments, find a value on there, or 2 or 3, and discuss that value with your table. Discuss what that really means to you and what your relationship to that value is. What it means to you and what your relationship to that value is. I'm going to give you, we have a couple minutes. Go ahead and do 5 minutes and have a conversation real quick. We'll do 4 minutes. 4 minutes. Go. I want to hear talking. I want people focusing. How's it going? Good? Exploring ideas, challenging convention, breaking down barriers.
All of it.
Good.
In 30 seconds.
That's amazing.
We were there.
Oh, you wanted a picture? Sorry. Now one that's serious. Look, you gotta look at me. Look at me.
Oh.
Okay. How's it going?
Good. Integrity.
Yeah, integrity. Oh, good.
Yes. Compassion. Is humor on the list? Humor's on the list.
That's where I live. I love humor.
Yes.
Good,
Is it
good.
a coping mechanism or is it a
It both. Yes, darling. Traumatic childhood right here. Okay, so how's it going?
Fabulous. We've got well-being, creativity, courage.
And what's your relationship with these things?
I like to color outside the lines, and I couldn't fulfill the expectation of corporate America, so when I was more authentic to myself, I was better listening to
How's it going? Good? You feeling some connection to some of this?
Yes.
Good, good, good. Good?
Yeah.
Exploring fun ideas,
Yeah.
challenging convention, breaking down barriers.
Of course.
Okay. I love it. So I walked around the room, I talked to some folks. I really felt like you were getting it. I feel like you're getting there, and I think that's awesome. Do you understand where I'm trying to go with this? Yes? This is important. This is something you can do with your friends. This is something you do when you're having coffee with someone and you want to get really deep with someone. Ask them what their values are and why. Don't just ask them how their kid's soccer game is going. Wouldn't you love to know if the people that you are having coffee with share your values? Or the people that you work with share your values? Recently, a friend of mine went on a job audition. Shows my world. It is the same thing, isn't it? And before she went in, the job application or whatever, the website application said, we're looking for someone who is sincere. You're going to start hearing this word. It's not just me. I promise you. This will be more and more common because people want sincerity. You can think of people who are authentic and they're a real jerk. There are people that say, I'm authentic, and they're a real jerk. You can. But you can't think of someone who's sincere and a real jerk. Sincere people, there's a difference because they care about you and your experience in this world. And when you share values with someone, you're on the same plane, you're on the same project, you have the same goals. It's not just these values, these are a lot of inner values, but your team has values as well. Your local chapters should have the same values. As members of GBTA, you should all have the same shared values. This is why there's so much time spent on mission statements and so on and so forth. Well, those things, if you really take it seriously, that can have a profound impact. I know a lot of us are like, oh, we got to write a new mission statement, right? I know, I've been in those meetings. I've led those meetings. I'm fun at those meetings. But I can tell you that you have to drill down to what our values are. What is it we're really all about? I run a company called Circus Kaput. We have 50 performers. We do 950 events a year. 950 events. There's nobody like us anywhere else really in the United States. And most of my performers were not performers when they first started. Some of them were actors, some of them were creatives of some kind, but they really had a desire to become a performer. And I share with them our value. And we have we have two main values. One, as performers, we are merchants of joy. Our product is joy. The end. We bring happiness to the world. It's not manufactured in a factory. It's not something you can go buy off the shelf. We bring joy to events so that this table and that table, they feel joy together. They feel a shared experience, and they walk away going, I had a shared experience with that person. I feel deeper and more connected to them. It was fun. I don't remember what people did, but I remember I felt something when I walked away. And as a company, our value is circuses for everyone. Everyone. Because there's a model in my business that you can be just for the rich, and you can entertain the rich. And I have entertained a lot of famous people and interacted with a lot of famous people and performed for those people. But I've also entertained in small towns. One of the greatest shows I ever did was on the border of Arkansas and Missouri. This library brought me down to entertain the kids. And I showed up and there was no kids. They had scraped together some money, and I'm a Missouri Arts Council touring artist. I'm on their roster. And so they get grant money and they can bring me in, and I come and I may entertain, may juggle or do some stuff like that. And they were like, well, we want something for this small town on the border of Missouri and Arkansas, up in the mountains. It was beautiful. The library was a barn and birds were flying through it. And there was no kids. So the librarian gets on the phone. She says, Chloe, send the girls down. And I'm like, what? Okay, they'll be right here. I see in the distance down this gravel road, this little girl dragging her little sister down the path. Her little sister's coming down. She drops her cheese stick on the way. She's sobbing. They come sit down in front of me. It was like, I'm going to make joy here for these two kids, because that's what I do. I'm a merchant of joy, and circus is for everyone. I don't care who you are. This is what we do. And we had the best time. It was so fun. And they had a memory that they'll remember for the rest of their lives, I hope. I can't say, I'm so great, they'll remember it for the rest of their lives. Aha. I'm not that good, but I can say, without a doubt, I won't forget it. I can say, without a doubt, I brought joy that day. I worked it. So that's important. That's why we need to know what our values are. We need to witness. Not in a religious sense, but we need to see other people. We need to not just see, we need to see with our ears. We need to be present. We need to feel the emotion. We need to be around other people to connect with them on every single level. We need to be there for others, to see them so that they feel connected to. That is part of the superpower. Because so many people, how often do you have those conversations with people where they're just waiting for their turn? How often are you having conversations with people where you're just waiting for your turn? That's not seeing or witnessing or actually listening or really engaging with the other person. Nothing is gained from that. Nobody grows from that experience. It stops. It's done. It's over. You had your say, I had my say. Might as well have been a text message. We have to really witness and engage with another human being. And this is how we do it. You're going to scan that QR code right there, and we're going to do an active listening exercise. When you get there on that page, what it's going to give you is 400 icebreakers. Okay. These 400 icebreakers are really cool and really fun, and I have to throw it out, created by ChatGPT. Right? Why not? Here's what you're going to do. You're going to turn to one person next to you. You're going to say, give me a number 1 to 400. And you're going to ask them that question. And you're going to see what they say. Go ahead. How's it going?
Hi.
Good?
What's your favorite way to celebrate achievements?
Pancakes.
You're a cheap date.
I am.
You use it bottle.
My wife and I, truthfully, that comes first to my brain, or waffles. But when my wife and I do something really great, we go out for pancakes and waffles at like a local diner or something. When we were dating, most of our dating took place at places that had pancakes and waffles and breakfast food. So that's.
You got it easy.
I know.
I'm telling you.
Yes, I know. Okay, all right, here we go. That was excellent. For a first draft, that was excellent. But it's not where we're trying to get to. Because you all just use skills you already had, and I want to give you a skill. I want to give you a back pocket skill so you can do it and you can win the day. That's where we're headed. Are you ready for this? All right. Hi. I don't know you. I don't know anything about you, but I'm going to try to get to learn and get to know you a little bit. Cool. What's your name? Michael. Hi, Michael. I'm Josh. Nice to meet you. Michael, where are you from? Atlanta. Specifically, what part of Atlanta? Smyrna Vinings. Smyrna Vinings? Oh, it's two cities. Okay, it sounds like Smyrna Vinings. I went out with her in high school. Right? Down in Georgia, there might be a girl named Smyrna Vinings, right? Right, well, it's all right. Okay, so Smyrna Vinings. And is that where you grew up? No. You didn't grow up in Smyrna Vinings. Where did you grow up? Alabama. What part of Alabama? Anniston. Anniston? Yes. Is that north or south?
It is a little central, about
an hour and a half from Atlanta. Yeah. What's the local delicacy? What's the favorite food, the favorite restaurant in Alliston? Fried. Fried. It's Alabama. Very cool. That's excellent. I love that. Is there a specific thing that you like fried more than anything? You look very slim, so I'm assuming you don't eat a lot of fried. But what is your favorite fried food? Chicken, fried chicken. Do you make your own fried chicken? No. You don't make fried chicken. Somebody else got to make it for you. Okay. What's your favorite piece of fried chicken? The breast. The breast? Okay. I like the breast too, yeah. I'm kind of a leg man, but... Okay. Chicken. All right, so Michael is from Georgia, or he's from Alabama originally. Loves fried chicken. He's from a small town, Anniston, which is about an hour and a half from Atlanta. But you live outside of Atlanta right now in Vita, Smyrna, or Smyrna Vita. Smyrna Vita. Smyrna Vita? Vines, Smyrna Vines. Vinings. It's hard to hear you from over here. It's not my fault. It's fine. But you love fried chicken and specifically like the breast. Cool. Here's the thing. There's a famous FBI profiler. He did a lot of negotiating, hostage negotiation. His name is Chris Voss. If you've never heard of Chris Voss, check him out. He uses this technique, and it makes him the most popular man whenever he goes out with his wife. All of his wife's friends love him. Because you felt heard, right? You felt like I heard you and engaged with you? What did I do in that conversation that was unique? I repeated. Generally, the last or most important thing in that phrase. I listen to. Not only does he feel heard, I'm learning it. I'm memorizing it. I'm saying it out loud, and that makes me memorize it. Now I know something about Michael. Okay? I know that he loves fried chicken, and we're going to go out after this, you and me. We got good fried chicken in St. Louis. Hodak's. But that's the thing. When we take that time to really get to know someone, they actually feel heard and feel connected to. Now, I'll tell you this. I spend a lot of time in Alabama. I go down to Alabama all the time. I spend about 2 weeks to 3 weeks down there every year. I love Alabama. I travel all over Alabama, and it's one of my favorite places in the whole wide world. But at that moment, it didn't matter. We could have had a whole conversation about Alabama coming from my perspective and all about my experiences, and I could have waited my turn and then said my piece about it, and you would have went, uh-huh. And you might have asked me some questions, and we would have gotten to know each other. But this moment was not about me. This moment was about you, Michael, and me getting to know you. And we can have a whole nother conversation down the road because you'll ask me all about Alabama. But right now, my focus is on you and you feeling heard and you feeling connected to. And that was what's so important about this moment. Does that make sense to everyone? It wasn't about me. It's about him. And that's what that's all about, active listening. So we're going to do this one more time. I'm going to give you one more chance to do this. Same people, different question. I'm going to give you just 1 or 2 minutes, not very long. Do that, practice that. Again, when I said, where are you from? He said the name of the town. I repeated it. When he said his favorite piece, I repeated it. Repeat that thing. It'll feel awkward. It'll feel a little bit weird, but I'll tell you what, people will be like, man, that person really listens. That person really gets me. I really feel connected when I'm around that person. They are so nice. Superpower! Go ahead. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay, keep it down now. All right, all right, all right. I want you all to notice something. Everybody, check this out. Check this out. Check this out. This is why this is so gold. The last time we did this, I was able to pull you back. This time I'm like, okay, all right, look at me now. Right? Because last time you're like, I said my turn, you said your turn. I said my turn, you said your turn. We did the job. That was good. Good on us. This time you were engaged. You were actively engaged with one another. You were present with one another. You felt heard by the other person. That's power. It's a simple thing you can do to make people feel more connected. Please do this. Do it with the girl at the grocery store. Do it with the guy at the gas station. Do it with your wife. Do it with your husband. Do it with your kids. Do it with whoever. Spread this. People need to feel heard and connected to, really connected to. The next is openness. Openness is kind of an interesting thing because a lot of us have agendas. How often do you write an agenda? Raise your hand if you write an agenda pretty frequently. Planners. You have a goal in mind. You have something you want to do. I don't care if it's a grocery list. Yeah. You have a goal in mind. You have a direction you want to go. You have a direction you want to take your team. This is the direction we're going. Full steam ahead. No chance for waffling. Unless we're going to Waffle House. Georgia. The problem with that is when we get so stuck in that, we double down when we make mistakes because we have to stay on the path. There's a great book called Mistakes Were Made But Not By Me. In that book, it talks about a senator, and this senator was taken out to lunch by a lobbyist. And he's like, well, it's just lunch. I can go out to lunch with him. When he's out to lunch with the lobbyist is like, hey, how about I take you for golf? Well, senator's like, okay, well, we had lunch. That's okay. All right, we'll go out for a round of golf. Next thing you know, lobbyist says, hey, we had so much fun playing golf the other day. Why don't I take you to Scotland and we'll play golf in Scotland? Senator's like, well, we had lunch and we had, we played a round of golf. Why not go to Scotland? Play golf. There's nothing wrong with that. And next thing you know, he's in the lobbyist's pocket because he didn't want to think about himself as the kind of person who started out with values saying, I won't be in the pocket of lobbyists. But he started to go down a path, and next thing he knew, he was in the pocket of a lobbyist. Because he didn't want to go back and say, I made a mistake, I made a mistake, I made a mistake. At this turn, I made a mistake. Sunk costs, right? We get in this idea that, well, I'm doubling down on this truth, this fact, this way of life, this path. I have to keep doubling down because if I don't, I am wrong. I am bad. There's something broken about me, and that can't be. Cognitive dissonance, we cannot handle that. We get stuck in paths, in relationships, in jobs, in positions because we keep doubling down without ever saying, you know what, I need some help, I'm doing this wrong. Without letting input in, without being open to the universe. I don't care if it's reading a book, attending a seminar, seeing a psychologist, seeing a therapist, whatever, getting some outside perspective. That's what we need. We need to be open, otherwise we end up down that path. And before we know it, we're struggling. And then people really can't depend on us because we keep doubling down and they know we're doing something wrong. But how can you trust someone who keeps doubling down on doing something wrong? Yes, they have conviction. Yes, they're true to their values, but they're doubling down on something wrong. So there has to come a certain point where we change that. And that's where openness comes in hand. I myself, as an acrobat, had an opportunity to play Kung Fu Panda. That's not the real one because you don't mess with the mouse. You don't put, that's my own graphic of the, don't tell Disney or Marvel or whoever owns that. No, but true, I was going to be Kung Fu Panda in the live show. I was going to tour all around the world and be the panda for the live show. Or sort of. I had the opportunity. You see, I got a call from Joni Spina, who's a casting director, and Joni had worked with David Copperfield and Cirque du Soleil, and she called me up and she said, "You're Josh, right?" And I said, "Yes." And she said, "You're an acrobat, right?" And I said, "Yes," because I used to do a lot of acrobatics, flips and tumbling back in the days before I was pushing 50. And when I did those things, I was fairly well known. And she goes, "Oh, so you're Josh the acrobat?" I said, "Yes." And she said, "And where are you at?" I said, "I'm in St. Louis." And she goes, "Oh, I thought you were in Vegas." "Wrong Josh." And I said, "Oh." She goes, "But that's okay. Why don't you send me a demo reel of you and what you're doing? Are you a big guy?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm a pretty big guy. I'm a strong guy. I'm not like a skinny little tumbler guy. I'm a pretty big guy." She goes, "Yeah, we need a heavy set, big acrobat, somebody who's a little bit bigger that can really hold up that costume and tumble in the costume." I said, "I could do that. I'll send you a video." Thinking nothing of it. I send them the video. They're like, "Franco Dragoni." Franco Dragoni, if you don't know it, created many of the great Cirque du Soleil shows. Franco loves you. Franco wants you to fly to Vegas. Franco wants you to come in and meet with him and discuss this 2-year world tour. I had been married about 5 years at this point. I had come off the road. I was no longer traveling, touring, doing circus shows, doing big shows like that. I've done a stadium show recently around that time, but it was local because their clowns got deported. Okay. Wasn't doing big stadium shows anymore. Wasn't doing those sorts of things. But this was an opportunity. And I went to my wife and I said, "Honey, they want me to go and do this." She goes, "That sounds like a great opportunity for you." And the reality is we had built this company, Circus Kaput. We had built our own company and our own engagement and doing this thing. And we were going a direction with that, but there was always that piece of me inside that thought that I needed to be a star. That was really what was going on inside me, was that I should have been a star. When I was in the Pickle Family Circus, the rest of the cast went to Cirque du Soleil. They got in the big shows. Many of them went to Vegas, been in Spiegel tents all over Germany and all that stuff. And I thought, well, I could do that now, and I could show them up because that's really important. I could be the star of a bigger show, right? And I was like, didn't really think about the fact that I'd be sacrificing so much to do that. I would be sacrificing, using my ego and following that vision of what I wanted. It wasn't about my wife, and it wasn't about what I was building and what I was doing. It was a distraction. It was a shiny object that would have taken me off a different direction. My wife's like, "You can do it, but we're building something here." She's got snap, my wife. She's like, right? And I was like, man. So I called Joni and I said, "Joni, look, I would love to do this, but the reality is I was open to what my wife said. I listened to what she had to say. I had to follow a different direction and say, you know what, that's not me anymore. That's not the passion. That's not who I think I am anymore. That's not the values that I have right now." And I love that we went down this path. I love that we did all these things to get here, but it's just not me. And Joni said, "You know what, I get it. It's totally okay, no problem." And at that time, my wife and I were living in an apartment. We were making ends meet okay, but we were just doing all right. We were doing about 200 or 300 events a year. We were doing pretty good, but we weren't doing as well as we're doing now. And I never would have gotten to where I am had I gone on that journey, and especially because a year later they canceled the show. So I could have put my marriage in jeopardy. I could have put my career in jeopardy, everything I built in jeopardy, and that show never became anything. I would have gone to Vegas. They would have loved me because I'm amazing. We would have gone down the path. We would have done some show creation. I would have gotten paid some money. And the next thing I know, I would be homeless and wifeless and jobless and nowhere. But because I was open to what my wife was saying, and I was open to the possibility that I was wrong to be following my ego, I now have something even greater. I have a much better life, a life I could never imagine. And I'm so grateful for that. I live a life of gratitude for the life that I have today, every single day. But I had to be open to that. Repair. This is something that's important. When we make mistakes, when we do things that are foul or run amok or do something out of our ego, which happens, we have to be able to repair it. And a lot of people think, well, we just bring everybody donuts. We'll just bring the team donuts. And I'm here to tell you, you don't have to bring the team donuts. Just stop doing it. Just stop doing whatever it is that's causing everybody so much discomfort around you. If you're going down a path that's taking everybody down a dark path, or you're doing something negative for yourself or for your life or for your family, just stop doing it and you can move forward. That's it. That's repair. Done. Amends, to amend something, to make amends, means change. A sincere apology, which we've all heard that phrase before, a sincere apology is followed with change. You have to change. And then people can come back to connecting with you on a deeper level. If you can't change, then you got to talk to a therapist, read a book, go to a seminar, talk to your counselor, talk to somebody, find a mentor, do something to find the solution. But change. You have to change. It's very simple. This is not a complex slide. I'm not going to tell you a big, long anecdote story. Just change. Stop doing it. And then you can move forward. It's not a complicated process. Debrief. After we've gone through all these processes and we've done all these things and we've had experiences in our lives, we have to look back and reflect a little bit. Reflecting, taking it in and thinking about, where did I go on this journey? What did I learn along the way? If we don't take time to debrief, we can't say, am I matching my values? Were my values honored today? Was I the kind of person that I needed to be today? Did I honor those around me? Did I connect to people? Did I let somebody down? Did I make a mistake? Is there something I need to make an amends for tomorrow? If we're not doing those things, if you're not keeping score, then how do you know if you're winning the game? You have to keep score. You have to know what's going on. That's me. Number 124, running a half marathon. Oh wait, that's not me. That's me walking a half marathon. During the pandemic, wasn't a lot of opportunities to perform. Wasn't a lot of shows, a lot of people getting together for entertainment. Wasn't happening. So I exercised. I got my Peloton. I started running, started swimming a lot. I ran a couple of half marathons. I did a triathlon. I listened to a lot of audiobooks and things that were like, go get them, eat the competition, you got this kind of stuff, I was like, I'm going to be an ultra runner. I'm going to get the best shoes and the things, and I'm going to do this. I joined all these groups on Facebook. I started training all the time, and I was in peak. I was like, my wife was like, that's my husband. It was good, right? I was there. I arrived. Then the pandemic was over. Floodgates opened. I started working again, working a lot of hours, gigging a lot, traveling all over the country, all over the world, doing events. And you all know when you travel, the food is not always healthy everywhere you go. If you don't bring your own food, you end up eating a lot of fried. And I did, and I stopped exercising because I just didn't have the time. I didn't put it on the schedule. But I still kept running half marathons. And I noticed my time was creeping back a little bit, but it was okay. And then not last year, not this past October, but the October before, which is when this photo was taken, I ran a half marathon. I do this half marathon every year. It's called the Mo Cowbell. Every year I run the Mo Cowbell. And I ran the Mo Cowbell, and I hit the wall. Any runners in here? Raise your hand if you're a runner. Have you ever hit the wall? Keep your hand raised if you've hit the wall. You know what it is to hit the wall. People have heard this phrase. If you've heard this phrase, you know the phrase hit the wall. It's real. The wall is real. And I hit it hard. And it hit back hard. Because when I run, I am not a fast runner. I've never claimed to be a fast runner. Fast running is not what I am about. Where I like to be, when you started running a half marathon or a marathon or a triathlon, you kind of know your place in the pack. You know where you're going to be. I'm just before the 70 and 80-year-old women, the guys who are vets who are running with one leg and doing their thing and kicking some butt, I'll tell you, right? I'm the moms with the strollers that are running in their ponytails and doing this, right? I'm just before those people, right? And so when I run, I know that's kind of where I'm going to be. I'm not way up ahead, and that's okay. I'm a turtle. It's good. I don't mind. I'm not that much of a turtle. I mean, it's average is about 11-minute mile, which was pretty good. Next year is about 11 and a half, 12, and then this year is about a 15, 16-minute mile. And when I hit that wall, it was about mile 11. It was a hot day. It was the hottest day we've had in October in a long time. I had on new socks. I had on a new hat. I had on a new bandana. I had some new things that I was trying, energy gels and things like that I'd never tried before. And any runner will tell you, you never try something new on race day. But I had not been practicing my running that year. I counted on the fact that, you know what, I've run this thing before, I can do it. Just give me all the energy supplements, perfect socks, good shoes, nice hat, and I will get in there and I'll run 13 miles. I got that. At about mile 11, I hit that wall and I hit it and it hit back and I went down to the ground like a stiff brick, boom, to the pavement. I could not move my body at all. Everything in my body was frozen up with cramps. I was locked up. I could not move. Policeman comes over and goes, "Sir, are you okay?" I could move my mouth. "I'm okay." "Sure, I'm sure. Just give me a minute." 1 minute turned into 2, turned into 10, turned into 15. I'm laying there thinking, I need to call my wife. I'll just pull out my watch and I'll come get me. Never happened before. Next thing I know, 70-year-old lady comes running up. "You okay?" Here, I got some salt tablets. Gives me some salt tablets, right? You can keep them. You look like you need them more than I do. It'll be the whole pack. Right? Next thing I know, the moms in the strollers going on by. Everybody's going on by. I know my place in the pack and it's not here. It was there. That's where I belonged, right? Finally, I got it up. I got up enough courage, right? I got up enough strength to make it across the finish line. That is me walking on legs that do not bend. 2 miles on legs that do not bend. This is me going, I am not kidding. That is how I crossed the finish line. That is a finish line photo. That is me just before I crossed the finish line right there. People, everybody, if you've run a marathon, you've run a 5K, you know they take pictures at the finish line so that you can see the glory and the majesty of you crossing that line. That was me. I am ashamed of that man. Number 124. I have that 124. It's on my wall in my office. That number 124, it's on my wall. And I see it every day. And no, I'm not as cut and as strong as I was when I was in the pandemic, but I'm stronger. And I came back the next year and I did better because I trained all year long. And when it was hot, I went out and I ran when it was hot. Because it wasn't because it was hot, it was because I didn't train. It wasn't the socks' fault, it was because I didn't train. It wasn't the energy gels because I just didn't train. I didn't do the work. But I wouldn't have known that. I would have come up with every excuse known to man. I would have complained about the circumstances. They didn't play the right music or whatever. Who knows? I would have come up with all sorts of reasons to complain about it. But the fact is, I didn't do my part. And when you do a debrief, you go, bones and all, everything the truth. Here we go. Let's look at it. Let's be honest. What went wrong? What went well? What can we improve next time? What supplies? What do we need? What do we need to do differently next time? For it to be different next time. What do we need to do different next time? And that's how you get better. Every time. And my next year, I shaved a half hour off my time from the year before. Okay? Still wasn't as good as previous years, but this year it will be. Because I'll go back and I'll do it again. And I have a plan. I'm working on a new plan. I've got some new things I'm doing, and I'm hoping I can beat my time. This year, I'm hoping to beat it by about 45 minutes. And then the next year, I'm hoping to beat my time by an hour, which is back to where I was when I was in the pandemic. Beat my time by an hour easily. It was like crazy how fast I was. Except I'm getting older, and you all know getting older sucks. It gets harder, but that's not an excuse. If you've ever seen J.K. Simmons the actor, there's a new video out of him, and that dude is so cut and ripped, and you're like, dude, J.K. Simmons is 69, and that dude's ripped. If he can do it at 69, I can do it at 46, right? You can do it. It's possible. So that's where you go. So here's a link to a daily debrief. If you want to take a snapshot of that, right there, if you go to that link right there, that will take you to my daily debrief that I do every day. You can save that. You can ask yourself 1 or 2 questions, 5 questions, 3 questions, all the questions every day. Ask yourself these questions, and that will help kind of guide you. You can come up with your own daily debrief, but I encourage you in bed at night before you go to sleep, do a little daily debrief. Ask yourself these questions. How far can it take you? It can take you all the way. It can take you as far as you're willing to go, as long as you keep changing and keep growing and keep getting better. So now, we've talked about self-awareness. We've talked about openness. We've talked about witness. We've talked about openness. We've talked about repair. We've talked about debrief. If you do those things, you will find the core of sincerity. You will no longer be a slave to insincerity, but you will find sincerity. And there it is, the S word. Self-awareness, witness, openness, repair, debrief. I want you to notice something about it. The S word, S-W-O-R-D, says sword. You didn't know it, did you? You didn't see me feeding that in there just a little bit. Not only does it say sword, but it says S word, which is pretty cool. Double whammy. Right? I love that. Makes me so happy. I wrote a book called The S Word. It's not out yet. It was supposed to come out this fall. It's probably going to come out sometime this spring. Please look for it. You can see it on my website. You can see more about me on my website in there as well. But we're going to go ahead and swallow a sword, shall we? This is a QR code. Please scan that QR code. One last thing for you to scan. That right there, please do this. It will take you to a website where you can give feedback on my performance here today. I will be sharing this with the GBTA staff and letting them know what you thought of what I did here today. If you do it and you enter the code 400ICE, it will give you a PDF of my 400 icebreakers. You will get a 400 icebreakers PDF that you can then share, use with your friends, and save it for later. Please scan that. Please give me feedback. I always want to grow. This is part of my daily debrief, is to look over these things. I read them all. They're so vitally important to me that I get your feedback so that I can keep improving. Thank you. There is only 100 real sword swallowers in the whole wide world. This is true. I'm one of them. You can look us up on swordswallow.org, not swordswallow.com. That's a different website. I'm going to have to check some of your browsing histories. Now, when I swallow the sword, it goes down my esophagus. My esophagus is curved. It will straighten my esophagus and nudge my heart a little over the left-hand side. I can feel my heartbeat on the sword as it goes down. It hits the bottom of my stomach. Sometimes it brings other things back up with it. Don't worry, it's just chicken nuggets. I like the barbecue sauce. Remember, I'm vegan. I'm joking. Now, here's the thing. We went through this whole journey together all throughout this today. When I first brought the sword up, many of you were like, oh no, but now you've gotten to know me. Now you're connected to me. Now more of you are watching me than you were when I walked up on this stage, because we are connected to one another. I have learned about you, Michael, and I know your soul to be true. This is our moment, Michael. When I swallow this sword, I urge you not to look away, because this is a moment that you may never get to see again. There is only 100 real sword swallowers in the whole world. I want to thank you all so very much for your observation of my art. Get your own show, sir. No, I'm not worried about it. I'm sticking this down my throat. I don't think about things like that. It's okay to take video. I'm not ashamed. When you post this on your social media, on your LinkedIn, all those sorts of things, feel free to hashtag GBTA or whatever your hashtag is here. What is the hashtag for this? GBTA? Okay. Summit. Yes, that. Michael, come here for a moment. Michael, come here. You don't have to swallow it. Come here. It's okay. Hi, Michael. Come on up. Come on up right over this way. Thank you so much. Real quick, one last thing before we go. I can have one more minute? Okay, thank you. Come on over here. Michael, thank you so much. This is Michael, everybody, for those of you that didn't see him, my new best friend. We're going to go eat fried chicken together, you and me.
Let's do it.
All right, Michael, here's the thing. If you touch right there, it's cold. If you touch right there, it's really warm. That's my belly. Go ahead. It's okay. It's okay. Michael, the reason you're here is a lot of people think that this is a fake sword, and I just need you to just like collapsible or something. That's real, correct? It's a real sword?
That's real.
Real? Yeah, that's real, isn't it?
Real.
Okay, it's not sharp or pointy. That's a different show. Okay, now here's the thing. Michael, we're going to do this one more time because there's people that missed that out there.
Okay.
And when I do, I'm going to swallow this sword. I'm going to bend over and bow to the audience here, but then I'm going to bend and bow towards you. At that moment, you're going to pull the sword out from inside me. Because as I said, Michael, there are people out there that do not believe that this is real, and this is sincerely what I'm doing here today, and I trust you because we've had a conversation, we've connected deeply with one another. You're going to pull it straight out, not like you're starting a lawnmower, that's a different show, okay? No shaky hand, just pull it straight out. Do you understand?
I understand.
You got this. All right, here we go. Give it up for Michael, everyone. Michael, thank you so much. I appreciate you. So, everybody give it up for Michael. Hey, Michael, thank you. Thank you so very much. I appreciate you. I want to thank you all so very much. You have been absolutely amazing. I love your spirit, your generosity. I want to thank the GBTA for having me. Please, 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 become more sincere. Please, together we can go out there and change the world. Thank you all so very much. I'm Joshua Routh. Thanks a lot, everyone. Thank you. Thank you.